Right there's a flag on. So, everyone please stand to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And we've got a flag right over there, Raymond. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks.
This special session of the Lincoln County Commission on February the 17th, 2012 at 8 a.m. is now called to order. Members present is Charles McCann, President, Thomas Ramey, Commissioner, Charles Vance, Commissioner. The sole purpose of this special session is to interview for the positions of the Lincoln County Sheriff and the Lincoln County Clerk. Our first appointment this morning is with Jamison Linville, who will be applying for the position of the Sheriff.
Okay. If it's agreeable with the other commissioners, you have notepads there to keep track of, write down additional questions. We have, I did go ahead and prepare 7 questions. I actually had one on this morning again. But what I'd like to do, if it's agreeable, I'll just go through these, ask the questions, and on each of those you have follow-up questions, just jump right in and ask that. And if Judy would, try to keep notes on each of these, how we're doing it, things like that. First question, Mr. Lemon, welcome to.
Thanks, sir.
Are you a registered voter in Lincoln County?
Yes, sir.
Do you live in Lincoln County?
Yes, sir.
Number 2, are you aware that the office of sheriff is a full-time position?
Yes, sir, I am.
What does that mean to you?
It's 40 hour, more than 40-hour work week for any sheriff, I think. I'm available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay. Question 3, do you have any criminal record or criminal background that could cause a problem serving as sheriff?
No, sir. Never even had to speak to it, sir.
You know, do you believe that you have the qualities needed to supervise deputies and the tax office, since this is an office that requires 2 major jobs?
Yes, sir, I do.
Would you try to explain, take each one and explain?
Well, my last job, my job title was lead operator. I was responsible for the employees in the plant. I was responsible for the contractors in the plant, union and non-union. It was a supply and demand type business, so you had to be efficient. I was on call 24 hours a day. I was responsible for all maintenance throughout the terminal. I was responsible for scheduling, margin loading, river traffic monitoring, so on and so forth.
How long did you work at that job?
From September '99 to 2008, I think. A little over 11 years, 10 and a half, 11 years.
You ever had to put together a budget?
I sat down with the supervisors my last job. I was never directly responsible for the budget, but I had help.
Any other follow-up? When would you be available to take office?
Immediately.
Question 6, why did you decide to seek the appointment of sheriff in Lincoln County?
Put pride back in our department. Our department's broken. It lacks leadership. I understand it's just a 10-month term. It would just be more efficient for somebody from the department to step up and take that responsibility.
Okay, question 7. In your opinion, what makes you the best choice as sheriff select?
I don't claim to be a 9-to-5 sheriff. It's not beneath me to help out with the mental hygienes, to help out with the court systems, to help out with everyday calls. You know, I have a few years' experience doing that already. I just like to see Lincoln County get back on track and head in the right direction.
I stuck another question on here I didn't think of yesterday when I get this fixed up, but in the capacity that you serve now, have you been bonded? Do you have to be bonded to be a deputy? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, but I assume that.
Have you ever been bonded or anything?
No, sir.
You know of any reason why you could not be bonded?
No, sir.
Because it is a job that requires bonding. Other commissioners, anything else you want to add to?
Are you related to anyone who works in this courthouse?
Yes, sir.
Who are you related to?
Very nimble. One of the other deputies.
Are you a certified police officer?
No, sir.
Have you taken the test to become one?
I went in last May and was injured, and right now I'm scheduled to go back in this May class.
Anyone else? Anything that you'd like to add that we haven't covered that
Yes, sir.
would add to the clause?
How do you think that the deputies that have been here a lot longer than you, how do you feel they'll feel working with you since you're not a certified police officer, they are certified police officers?
Well, it's a hard one to answer. I don't know. I have a good working relationship with the deputies now. I've never been here 2 years, never had one problem with them. I think they understand this department lacks leadership, and I'm pretty sure they know I'll step up and do what I need to do.
Anything else new? We certainly appreciate you coming in early, and appreciate you taking time to interview. Thank you. Okay, we don't have another interview scheduled until scheduled 8:15, and he withdrew.
Did he give a reason for withdrawing?
Well, he said that he just thought about it more, and he just didn't think that he was ready to do this, so he just come to my house, actually, well, my daughter's house yesterday, and told me that. He didn't put it in writing. He said, just please take my name off it.
Did he say about anybody talking to him about withdrawing or anything to your knowledge?
No, I think it's something personal. I really didn't inquire, but he didn't volunteer any information.
He came and talked to me as well, and he didn't, nobody had pressured him into anything.
You think somebody might?
Do I think somebody? I don't think so.
I didn't gather
He
that.
gave me some personal reasons, and I understood what he was saying.
So he told you personally what the reason he was withdrawing? You said you didn't get hold of Mr. Alford.
I talked to his secretary yesterday, and she said that he was on the road, and I told her that he had an appointment at 8:30 this morning to be interviewed for the sheriff's position, and she said that she didn't know if he would be able to be here or not, that he had an appointment. And I thought that if he wasn't here at 8:30, I may give him a call to see if maybe he would want to do the interview over the phone or something.
Do you think we might maybe try to get hold of him now, see if the mic's not going to come in and see?
I can try.
And see if it might speed things up a little bit.
I'm answering his call. I think that was his home.
Mr. Crawford's coming back.
Oh,
Okay,
is
we're
it?
trying to get you. Just tell him, come on back in. Morning. Morning. You're early, but we had one to cancel out, so if it's all right with you, we can begin.
Sure.
Sure. Okay, this is Jerry Alford, everyone probably knows.
Jerry, you can come up here and sit if you want.
Oh, okay.
What we have, Mr. Alford, is several questions already just sort of jotted down, but each commissioner may add to those. At the end, you may want to add something that's not on here that we're asking about.
Okay.
First question, are you a registered voter?
Yes.
And live in Lincoln County?
Yes.
Are you aware that the office of sheriff is a full-time position?
Yes.
Do you have any criminal record or criminal background that would cause a problem with serving as sheriff?
No.
Do you believe that you have the qualities needed to supervise deputies as well as the people who run the tax office?
Yes.
And would you like to elaborate how you think you have that ability?
I have 27 years experience operating a law practice here in Lincoln County. Prior to that, I worked at an actuarial firm supervising up to 45 people at a time. I have a four-year degree in management as well as my doctorate degree.
You have a doctorate degree in management or just your
Doctorate, jurisprudence.
Anything else? Okay, moving on down to question 5. When would you be available to take office?
It would take me 3 or 4 business days to wind down some other activities.
You're willing to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you decide to seek the appointment of sheriff?
My understanding is that this is a temporary position for 9 or 10 months, I believe till December 31
Yes.
this year. And I think there are probably few people in the county qualified to fill the position on such a temporary basis, of the learning curve. Best qualified would be someone who has filled the position in the past. I don't know how many living head sheriffs there are. I think there are only one. So
Do you plan on continuing to practice law while you hold the position?
I plan to wind down all activities in Lincoln County and put my practice on a hold for a period of time.
You practice still with yourself?
I do. But I do have some long-term cases that will be ending during a period of time.
Do you think that'll interfere with your duties as sheriff?
And I think I can refer everything in Lincoln County to someone else.
You know, you and I have worked on several, we have common patients and clients and things like that. And, you know, one of the comments I would make to the commission, having done that over a period of 15, 20 years, I've always found Mr. Alford to be very professional, very caring about those clients of his. And, you know, you can oftentimes tell how good a lawyer is by how much the clients complain about him to the doctor. And Mr. Alford has done a really good job helping the people of Lincoln County. I would just put that in, having known him personally and worked with him professionally. I don't know of anything that I've ever encountered with him where there was a disagreement that was based upon what was right or wrong. I think he has a very good sense of those things and what is justice and injustice. That's all I have.
Yeah, I think Mr. Alford is definitely a high-quality lawyer. The only thing I would question when I look at the application is do you have time to devote to it? And why would you want to give up such a successful practice to do that? I think that's something I would.
I do have the time. I can devote 40 hours per week to the position.
That was my concern. Last question that we have down here is basically what makes you the best choice? Not knowing who all, but just why are you the best choice in your mind?
I'm not saying I am the best choice. I don't know who the other choices are.
Okay.
As I said before, if you have someone who has applied, who has filled the position in the past, that would really help with the learning curve. I'm here to help out if I'm needed, if I'm wanted.
And I appreciate when I saw your.
No hard feelings if I'm not chosen.
You know, one of the things that, we had problems several years here ago with the tax department end of it. I mean, we spent monies and monies getting things straight and things like that. And I think one of the things that we want is someone in there that could assure us that, you know, we're not going to jump off track, even though we do monitor things that go on in the sheriff's office. I think we would want someone that had a management background that had dealt with the public before and things like that. And you know, I think with your background and that would lend itself very positively in the tax department. And I know you don't have any law enforcement background or anything like that. Of course, I think all of our former sheriffs have relied on their deputies, their certified police officers and things like that to take care of those things.
Anyone else? I did ask, put a question there about bonding. Have you ever been bonded, or do you have to be bonded, maybe a lawyer or anything like that?
I have been bonded in the past.
All right, I don't have anything else. You got anything else? Anything else you want to add?
I have no questions.
We appreciate you coming in. Get here early.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And, Merle's not supposed to come in until 9:45,
8:45.
or 8:45, and then at 9 for the county clerk position.
So Merle and Christie's really the only two we've got to interview. Or maybe we call Merle, see if he can leave the house over there or something over there. He over there, and we don't have me and Christie to do.
Hopefully he's already left.
He gets up early.
Yeah, so I thought you may show up.
Now, if Merle was to be appointed to county clerk or sheriff, Merle, this is Judy. We're running kind of early. Could you come on over? Okay, thanks. Bye-bye. It'll be about 15 minutes. Would he have to give up his position at mayor? He would, wouldn't he?
I assume that that's one of the things I was planning to ask. Had you thought about
You're late.
Yes, ma'am.
it? Get your targets.
No, they just do timeout now.
Do you mean time out? Okay, get over.
Steve,
Good.
are we on the record? Okay, we had a short recess, and we had requested one of the people who's going to interview to see if he can get here early. He has. It's now 8:45. We do have present for the final interview for sheriff, Ms. Merle Hughes. Merle, we have some questions already sketched out, and each commissioner may chime in something else, and at the end, or anytime you want to, you can add to whatever, if you think something would be to your advantage. First question is, are you a registered voter,
I am, sir.
and you live in Lincoln County?
I do, sir.
Are you aware that the office of sheriff is full-time?
I am aware of that.
Is there any, since you serve as mayor of West Hamlin, have you planned that if you got selected for either of these positions you applied for, that you would have to resign that position?
Well, the Secretary of State's office said for sure you would, but for the other position, you would not have to. But I would resign because I couldn't fulfill both jobs. That just wouldn't work out because there's a heavy load right here. So I couldn't do justice to both jobs. No way.
Appreciate your honesty. I'll ask this question. I wouldn't anticipate a yes answer, but do you have any criminal record or background criminal thing if I called you from serving as sheriff?
I do not.
Do you believe that you have the qualities needed to supervise deputies and tax?
I believe that I do.
And would you explain a little bit how you feel it makes you qualified to supervise law enforcement as well as tax deputies?
Well, as if you want to call it that, the chief of police of West Hamlin, I supervise what law enforcement we do have. And I'm familiar with it. I feel that I'm a person that could get along well with the deputies. That'd be one thing. And it seems as though there's too much of a turnover in deputies here. It costs the county a lot to train them.
Is it?
And then they leave. Don't know what the problem is, but I'd like to see better working conditions or whatever that it may take to keep it. And as far as taxes, I believe that everybody should pay their taxes. I believe it's the duty of the sheriff to make sure they are collected.
Okay. In the office of mayor, do you all collect taxes in the town of West Town?
Not really.
What,
No.
what kind of fees do you collect?
Uh,
I know you run the water system, but is there anything
That's,
else? about
that's
it?
really, that there's, a little fee that the city, on utilities and whatever. A little, won't say business tax, but they gotta get a license to do business. Other than that,
Serving as mayor, have you been bonded or?
I have.
You have. If you were selected as the sheriff, when would you be available to take office?
immediately.
Why did you decide to seek the appointment of sheriff?
Well, I've always wanted to be in local government, if you will, and I feel that I have something to offer. I have a good record. I'm honest. That is not to say that there's not it's dishonest here. That's not to say that. But I feel that I have something to offer, and I'd like to give something back to this county. My grandparents goes all the way back, and if my memory serves me correctly, probably my great-grandfather was a deputy. We are from Harts Creek.
I won't hold that against you.
No, don't do that.
And none of us will.
But I have an interest in.
What, before you became mayor, what did you work at?
I worked on the railroad 32 years. Retired as a conductor.
Okay. Just a judgment statement, if you care to make one. The question is, what makes you the best choice for sheriff? Not maybe knowing who the others
Well,
are.
not knowing who the other, that would be a hard question to answer, because you may have some that's more highly qualified than I am. So it would be hard to make a judgment on somebody that I don't know. But I feel that I can do a good job and would give it my all.
Any follow-up? That's really sort of hits the highlights I had down here that each of the commissioners may want to come up with something else before we go to him for just a summary.
Earl, do you have any relatives that work in the courthouse here?
Working where?
Working here at the courthouse?
No,
Okay.
did not.
Okay, they may still think of something else, but is there some other statements that we haven't covered that you'd like to share with us?
Well, not really. I believe that I would enjoy working with the elected officials that we have here and the employees. We have good, hard-working personnel. And I believe that they are doing a good job. I would like to be a part of that. I'd like to add something to it in some way.
And you're correct. The turnover is outrageous. For you to want to focus on that, to keep our employees here, whether it be the working environment or whatever the reason might be.
Right. And if I would be selected, my top priority would be to keep the personnel here. I certainly wouldn't come here as a new person wanting and trying to make changes. That's just not in my thoughts, because I believe that the personnel here knows their job, and they do their job and do it well from what experience that I have had with it.
know, we have some good people, particularly working in both these offices.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any hesitation about hiring new deputies? Because we do have some vacancies.
If the money is there, no problem, the more, the safer that the citizens, I feel, would be. And we need more law enforcement, but I'm sure you're well aware, more than I, that the tax base and revenue is not there to really do everything you want to do.
Well, I mean, it is one of those things, we have to look at what are the priorities and how
Right.
do you balance the budget, all those things, which you know that's part of your job too.
Right. I'm sure there's good, qualified people out there that could be hired.
Okay. Anything else, Smitty? Okay, we appreciate your time. Appreciate your interview.
I appreciate being able to come over here and to talk to you, and it has been a pleasure.
Now, we're going to switch gears here shortly and start with the, because you're the last of the sheriff, and we have two people to interview for the clerk position. I have you down and one other, and you need a break, or you ready to switch gears to the clerk's job?
Please go right ahead with it.
Okay. Some of the stuff will be a little redundant, but question one, I won't ask it again, we've already covered that. And question two, are you willing to accept the appointment of the county clerk until a person is seated by the voters in the November election?
That is correct.
Background, we've heard that already, unless you want other, I don't have anything to ask there. Again, talking about the clerk's office, which is basically a record-keeping, election keeping, that kind of thing. It's a little bit quite different really from the sheriff's offices. But what any other qualities that you want to add that would make you a person there that can lead the staff, work with the staff? Just tell us about the clerk's office, why you are interested in that.
Well, as being a mayor, I'm familiar with some of the duties that I'm sure would be over here. Not all. You have record keeping over there. You have the water and the sewer. Records has to be kept, financial, whatever. And a little bit familiar with the election, because we do have one every 4 years.
Now that we're talking on elections, you know, the part of the duty of the county clerk is to supervise the elections. And the history we've had here, what would you suggest, Merle, that you could do that would prevent or be able to monitor a little better what's going on in that process?
Well, I would look at the election laws a little closer and try to have as much hands-on and make sure that all the personnel is familiar with that and keep it as close as possible. I know you can't control everything, but I am sure there's things that could be done that would help.
In this position, just like the sheriff, it's considered a full-time position. Are you aware of that?
I am aware.
Are you willing to commit to a full-time position?
I am.
Again, ready to take office if chosen when appropriate time comes.
That is correct.
And again, you may not know, but if the choice, why are you the best choice? Tell us why we should select you.
Well, not knowing the other candidates, there may be more highly qualified, equally qualified, I am sure. But I have a little experience of what the clerk does as far as that goes, by being the mayor over there, and that's daily. Things have to be looked at. And I'm pretty much a hands-on on that. Close tab on what's going on. So therefore, I've been a councilman about 3 years, mayor 3 years. So far, so good. Had no complaints. I'm talking about statewide or whatever. I think the audit, everything is up to par.
Your commitment to want to serve Lincoln County, I think, I guess I wonder, why did the mayor of West Hamlin, Mr. Pugh, file for both of these positions? I think you've answered that by me listening to the interview. You just want to be able to serve and give back.
That is correct. And either position, it wouldn't make any difference to me as far as that goes. I know that I cannot serve both of them. I understand. But your chances, I believe, is better by applying for both than only applying for one.
Could be.
And you stated the Secretary of State said if you were chosen as the county clerk, you could remain as mayor, but you would not.
That's what I was told. I had a question. By being non-partisan, as this city is, would I have to resign to accept one of these positions? They researched it, and later on that day, they called back. We had a little thing here, you might say, where a board member had to resign to be able to run for office. Well, I assumed maybe the mayor would be in the same position. They said, there's nothing in there that would prevent you from serving as mayor and as the county clerk. But there is a little thing in there on the sheriff's side which says that you cannot be the chief of police and the sheriff. So therefore, it would be best if you resign.
And you're willing to do that?
I'm willing to do that.
Any other discussion or question? Anything else you want to add?
That's all I have.
Okay, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner. Good day.
Thank you. We'll be making a decision hopefully today. We're going to discuss it after we do the final interview.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Since she's available.
Okay.
Christy Scraggs. With a K, right?
Yes.
I spelled C. All right.
I got to change the thing.
Are you back on? Okay. Okay, back on the record, interviewing Christy Scraggs, position of county clerk. A couple of get started questions. Do you live in Lincoln County?
Yes,
And are you a registered voter?
yes,
Are you willing to accept the appointment of county clerk until a person is seated by the voters in the November 12th election?
yes.
Do you know of any criminal record or background that you might have to keep you from being seated as a clerk?
Are you the target of any federal investigation?
No,
Do you believe your work experience over there that you have the ability to lead the staff that's in the clerk's office and work with the other people in that?
yes,
Would you like to explain a little bit why you think you can do that?
yes. I feel that I'm qualified to do the job. We have an election coming up this year. I feel that someone that comes in needs to know a little bit of the election law. I've been to several trainings. work closely with the Secretary of State's office. I've worked hard since I was put in elections to, which was May of 2011, to purge voter rolls, clean up the registration process and things, and I feel that I come in office.
I have a question. In regards to the 2010 election and the controversies that have followed, if you had been county clerk at that point, what would you have done differently?
One, I would assume my staff to train, so they would know the law, know the process, things of that nature.
So the staff didn't know the laws at that time?
No one had been in training.
So why had you not been in training?
For the 2010 election, I was not hired until July 1st of 2010 in the clerk's office, which was, I was over estates, and that's when I was hired. Prior to that, the girl that was hired in there had not been to any trainings or anything. The only training there was with a staff member that had been in there previously to show, what she knew and things.
How is the clerk's office set up? I mean, I heard you say your first job was in the States. What all is involved in the clerk's office here at Williams?
Yes, we take care of the states. We do birth certificates, marriage license, hunting and fishing license, deeds. We record different things, claims, different things of that nature.
So
Plus the election.
Yes, yeah, plus the election, yes.
So did you have any involvement in the 2010 primary as far as making applications for voting or any of those duties that were required of the voting clerk at that time or anything of that nature?
Whenever I was in the office, maybe was handed 5 to 10 applications, which was in return given to the girl that's over the elections.
So the reason I'm going into this is I think you were the spokesman or spokesperson for the county clerk's office during this time. And so I take it that you were familiar with the problems that were being brought up, questions that were being brought up and things of that nature.
I was the spokesperson. Everyone else was nervous, to get on there, and I was the spokesperson. And I think that's the misunderstanding. I was not over elections at all. I wasn't even hired until July 1st of 2010. When I was in there, I helped with everything.
Now, where did you work prior to July 1st, 2010?
I was in that office,
Right.
but I was not
How long were you in
full-time.
there prior to July 1st?
From February 1st
Okay.
of 2010.
So you were in the county clerk's office during the primary election in May 2010?
Yes. And I done the early voting. I was the
Right.
Democratic Party for
Right.
it.
And even in being a new employee, you assumed the leadership of being spokesperson?
Yes. Everyone else was nervous, and so I done that for them.
Did you
Which
at
I
any-
don't mind.
During this time this is going on, Christy, you're asking us to put you over this department. And during that time, you were working in the department when these alleged things happened with the absentee voters and things like that. And you had no knowledge of that,
No knowledge of
those things occurring at the time?
people turning in absentee. Well, yeah.
I mean, you had no knowledge that it was being done incorrectly?
No.
Okay. But you want us to put you in control of that office when you didn't know it when you were there at the time it was going on?
Exactly. But since then, whenever I did take office, I immediately went to every training there is, constantly on the phone with the Secretary of State's office. I've been to all trainings, and now I know what the law is. I know what the rules are and the guidelines, and I know I can run that office.
So if you had the knowledge then that you have now, you don't think that things would have turned out as they did?
No, now that I know
That you've
what
been
the law
trained.
is, right,
You've
I
been
know
county
how
clerk.
I know how to handle some of them.
I didn't know a lot of the things as far as concerning absentee ballots till 3 weeks prior to that election being held, and I was told these things were happening. And I'm sure you guys in the county clerk's office must have heard it too, that, when you usually have an amount of absentee ballots that would be under 100, except in the 2008 election, and you wind up having applications requested for over 600. Did nobody over there say, hey, this looks kind of funny?
At first, when they were coming in, I never even questioned, never thought, I never knew of the absentee voting process. My husband, the way he works, has missed elections because I never knew of the process. So I wasn't thinking much of, of all that until when the Secretary of State's office came and requested copies of things, and then people talked.
Now, who was the one that was officially over elections at that time, May 2002?
Sandra Likens.
Did anyone help her with that? Did you help her
The
with
process?
the process?
Yeah, all of us did. When it's election time, everyone in the clerk's
Did Kim
office.
Toppins help them also? Okay,
Yeah.
so.
If every one of the girls, that's one of our duties when it's election time, that whole entire office.
And of all that whole entire office over there, no one knew what was going on was illegal.
Not that I know.
You're saying you were not trained?
No,
Staff was not trained?
no. The only training that we had was, like myself, was Kim Toppins used to be over the elections, and she showed us how to register voters.
And that was the only training?
Mhm. And they trained us, of course, how to change the paper and the machines, things like that.
What do you think, since you have been in charge of the election, what do you think you have accomplished, or what have you accomplished?
I feel I've accomplished a lot. As soon as I had taken the position, I got in there and purged over 3,000 and some voters. I have moved over 7,000 and some inactive. I've worked really hard on the process to get it cleaned up and get it, the books looking better and things of that nature. I've had so many people and poll workers come to me and say, when we look at these books now, there's a big difference, and they can take them.
Christie, as county commissioner, how would I answer the public when if you were appointed to this position? How can I reassure them that number one, you weren't involved with anything at that time because you were in that office, and number two, that if you weren't involved, you didn't have any idea anything was going on? How can I reassure them that you're the right choice for that position?
Well, one thing, I have came to you guys several times in meetings, updating you all, updating the public on what the process is. That's one thing you can say, since she has been over the election and into the trainings and running it, that she has, and no one can deny that. I mean, I've worked really, really hard with the public and the citizens and the poll workers and everyone of cleaning the process up.
Do you know of anything that, a procedure, process, that you may have made a mistake by doing it wrong, or do you feel like what you have done since you've been elected, it's all been above board and doing what the requirements are?
Yes, I feel that way. And if there's anything that I don't know, or if I'm thinking maybe is that the right answer or not, I will call. I mean, I call
Who do you
them.
call?
Usually I talk to Dave Nichols,
And he works for?
Andrew, the Secretary of State's office, and I contact them at all times. And they can even verify that. I mean, we call, sometimes I might call 3 and 4 times a day. I might call one person up there and get an answer, and then still read the code book myself, still a little bit questionable, and I'll call again to verify that again.
And if you're selected to be the clerk, what would be your game plan with an election already ongoing? Would you plan to give that duty to somebody else, or would you take that as your top priority?
That would be my top priority. It would be my place to train the new person that would come into that office. And I would take full responsibility for that. And I know that I can do that. I know that I can train them on the laws and on the process. And I will work with them, right beside of them. This is an election year, and that's why I feel that whoever is appointed to county clerk should know a little bit about the election process and how it works.
Do you think you could serve the county better in the position you have over elections, or in the position of being county clerk?
I think as county clerk, I think that all the girls in the office, everyone needs to be trained on elections. That way, in case, if someone's not there, they can pick right back up. It's not back to no one knows what the law is, no one knows.
And you say you have been to a lot of training, and I know you have. Do you believe that the people who work in the office over there now know more about election due to your training and sharing information than they did a year or two ago?
Yes. One thing that I had done in the office already was put the election system on all computers. where all of them can help me when we went through like the purging process of things. And the girls in there that never knew how to register someone or nothing, I have trained every one of them how to do that.
Yeah, after speaking, I think it was Dave Nichols from the Secretary of State's office, he was concerned that during previous elections, all of the employees were using the same login and password to log into the system. Has that been corrected since you've taken
Absolutely.
over?
I had talked to Dave Tackett, which showed me how to go in there and make everyone their own password, and their own username and password. Now, I know everyone's username. I know no one's password. Everyone knows their own, and whenever they do anything, they go under their own. Before, there was just one, and everybody went under that one, so no one knew who was in the system. Right. You couldn't say, you know, who canceled this vote or things like that. Now, you can pull up anyone's and see exactly any notes, who done those notes, any girl in the office now. Everybody has their own.
Well, let me ask you about a scenario where, say, you're a county clerk and someone gets up in a public meeting and says, I helped multiple people sign applications to fill out for an absentee ballot, you know, and I feel it was the right thing to do. And then you find out that that person may have not assigned any of those little things on them, the affidavit saying, I helped that person fill that out. How would you proceed with that?
Well, if it was after the fact, that would be a Secretary of State's call for them to go in there, you know, and look at that.
So you would
Prior
inform
to
us, you would inform Secretary of State's office that you
Right,
found that.
yeah, if I hear anything, several people, since I've been over election, has came to me with different things, and I always contact someone else or tell someone else.
So you, based on experience 2010, because I know that's the only election you participated in as soon as you were hired, you do not think the staff was prepared nor trained to respond to questions from the public in regards to elections?
Exactly. No one knew very much. No one knew the exact process or how it worked. Since then, we do. You can just about go over there now and ask any girl in that office about elections, and they can tell you.
Well, those girls handled the same, you know, a large number of absentee ballots in the 2008 election. I mean, a larger number than it's been ever before. At that time, they knew there was a process going on that increased that number of absentee ballots. And then they still didn't learn between that and the 2010 election when we had another 3 times that number come in. And nobody over there thought this is not right. Nobody over there thought, you know, these ought to be mailed in, not hand delivered in here.
Well, they can be hand delivered.
Well-
You can hand deliver, you know, up to 2, you know, ballots.
But the candidates can't.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay, we touched on a little bit a while ago, question 7. When would you be available to take office if you were selected?
As soon as possible.
And I heard you say you'd be trying to find someone to replace you. How would you go about doing that?
Well, I think that we should run an ad and do interviews and try to find someone that knows a little bit about how to run computers and things like that. Sometimes you'll get people that wants to work but doesn't know how to, you know, run the computers, and I think that we should have interviews.
Are there any trainings coming up, election trainings prior to the election?
And they usually do those in off years.
Okay,
It
so
would be next year.
leading up to the election, if you were able to find someone to take your position, you would do the training?
Absolutely. And I would be right there with them every day, helping them with the whole process.
Do you have the ability, skills, whatever it's called, since you work over there with those people that's already there, do you believe that you have their respect, that they would let you be their boss, if that's the right word, be the clerk, get along with them and still lead?
Yes, I get along with everyone over there, but when we have a job to do, they know how I am now. I sort of take a little bit of control now, you know, when I'm over there.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and they'll jump right in and help me. Anything that I ask. they'll
And you're
jump
almost
in.
one of the youngest persons over there, aren't you, as far as time? And you don't find that the other, I mean, they're okay with that, everybody's okay with that?
They've all, you know, been supporting me and backing me, and
Did they encourage you to file? Have you ever been bonded to do a job, to certify your financial background? But this is one of the requirements. Do you have any reason to think that you could not be
No.
bonded? No bankruptcies and those kind of things? Are there any other questions? You do realize this is a full-time position, whatever that means. Full-time, when you're the boss, you gotta be there, right?
Exactly. That means Monday through Friday.
Do you have any relatives works in the courthouse?
Anything else that you'd like to add to help us?
I would just like for you guys to give me a chance. I know that I can run this office. I worked really hard trying to keep you all updated. I know I'm newer in that office. I understand that. But I know that I can run that office. And if you ask the ladies in there, they'll tell you the same thing. And I'd just like for you all to give me the opportunity. I feel like I've been trained. I've learned a lot.
See, you're not just trained in the elections department. You know the entire office.
Absolutely. If any of the ladies would leave from out front, I can train anyone how to do anything out there. I know the whole entire office. I can run all of it. Right now, I know with this, this election, that right now that's our most important thing, but I can train them on absolutely anything else.
If you're not selected, are you dedicated to the job of being the election chief to continue doing that work?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I signed on for that position, and that's exactly what I'll do, whether I, get the job or not.
I think the only thing that bothers me, Christie, is, this thing with the absentee votes was brought up weeks before the primary, and it looks to me like if I was in an office that was required to make sure those were all valid, I'd have been scurrying to read the law and things like that, to try to figure out exactly what is being done and what's not being done. And I think that not just yourself, but I think, anyone over there that has a job working for the people of this county ought to always be highly suspicious when things change like that. Of course, I do know that you're a loyal employee, and I think all those people over there are. And maybe you were just doing what your boss has said, but somewhere along the line there has to be. It's awful that there has to be, but sometimes there has to be disagreement if you think something doesn't smell right. And I think that's what really bothers me. 3 weeks prior to the election, I knew something didn't smell right. A lot of people in the community knew something. They were talking to people about it too. And I would have thought that office would have been aggressive in trying to discover what the laws really were and make sure they were being enforced. Of course, if Mr. Whitman didn't want that to happen, then maybe that's why it didn't happen. But I do think that, we would like all of our employees to be loyal employees, but we'd also like them to be loyal to the people and honest to the people of the county. So that's the reason that I think that anyone involved in the election process last time, really, it's hard for me to involve them in government at a higher level, knowing where they were at in that process. And that's not to say I don't think we've done a good job since then. I do think we've done an awesome job of clearing up the voters' rolls and things like that. And I think that was a dedicated thing that you took really well and done really well with. And I don't want to seem to come off totally negative as far as you're concerned, because I do think you have the abilities to do the office. It's just a question of the fact I think the people in the county would question, where your involvement was in that election. And I think that's still ongoing. And I really think if we're going to talk about getting past these things, we've got to put people in that absolutely have nothing to do with that process at that time. And that's just my personal thoughts.
Well, I respect your comments on that. We all have a boss, and that's who we follow under. If there's questions or whatever, we did contact people and talk to people. But we know what the law is now, and if I am in charge, it will be followed to the T. And the public needs to know that. And at any time, it would be an open door policy. Come on in each day if you want to sit there and watch us work all day long. I've always been like that. No matter what party you are or anything, come right on in and we'll all get in there and work together. It wouldn't bother me one bit for anybody to come in during the whole entire process and sit there and watch the process. And I know that everything that I will be doing, or anything that I tell you, tell one of the girls to do, it will be right. I will find that answer before they do anything. If I don't know the answer, I will find the answer.
And I agree, you know, you have done a tremendous job. And, of course, when you went in there, I didn't even know you when you took the job, but you have responded that well. There is that cloud out here that we heard Commissioner Bates talk about, and we do need to move beyond that. And I'm sure you're fully aware of that when you applied for it and willing to stay here in a public interview and try to convince us that you're the person to do that job. Do you have thoughts that there's anybody that's going to come in and convince you that you are not the person to do the job and do it right, regardless of whether you get criticized or not? You're willing to be your own person. Is that what I hear you saying?
Exactly. I'm willing to take full responsibility. In the election, I'm willing to be the spokesperson, be front and center. If I tell someone to do something, I'm going to know what that law is before they do it.
I've just been so impressed with the work that you've done, getting it done. It's a tremendous job, and you've done it well. I certainly don't want to make the wrong decision and put anyone in there that's going to hurt our county or anything. I want to get the person in there that's going to help us and get over this. So you think you can do that?
Absolutely, and especially with this being the election year, I feel that the person who is appointed should be someone that does know, the law, know exactly what the process is, know how it's to be run, instead of, someone new again where they have not been to training and they wouldn't know the process and they would have to rely on us girls to tell them that process. And I would like the opportunity to be the leader and to let them know, my staff exactly what the process is. And I would take full responsibility. And I would promise you that this election would run smooth. I know it would. I know I can do the job.
Well, in most cases, I think elections do run smooth. I think what we've got to do, though, in making the choices, be able to say to the public, you were the spokesperson during this period of time, too. You know what I'm saying? You were bringing up things as far as what you considered to be this and that and things like that. And you may have been under the instruction of Mr. Whitten. But we've got to be able to tell these people that if you're going to continue as a spokesman for that county clerk's office, we can trust what you're saying. And I think that's the key. I think it's a matter of trust. I think it's a matter of how these people perceive what we do here in relation to what was done in 2010. And that's really, and it's a shame that you are doing such a good job now in elections. I mean, I think it couldn't have been done by anyone any better. I think you took that on, and I think you worked with people and got it done, and I'm impressed with that. But like I said, I think this is a matter of gaining the trust of the people of the county.
And if I recall correctly, the crux of your outspokenness for the county clerk's office was in regards to the allegations that dead people voted. I don't think it was as much in regards to the absentees. I could be wrong, though, if you could just elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, that was something that, really offended the whole staff. People was coming in, saying that we allowed that. One girl in the office was even told that we allowed her mother, and it really hurt her feelings and upset her because, with her mother passing and things of that nature. That was the main concern then, was we just felt like instead of someone coming to us, it was sort of put out on the news media and things, and we did not have the opportunity to sit and talk with anyone that would come to us and show them who.
Well, I think, having been involved with this, when I give those names, and what this is based upon is 3 of the names that I had seen on the roll that voted were identical to people that I'd signed death certificates on. And at the time I give it to the Secretary of State's office and 2 weeks later to the prosecutor, I said at that time, I don't have birth dates, I don't have addresses for these people, I just recognize them as being the exact names of people I signed death certificates on. And that's how that got started. Me sitting on the board of canvassers to determine whether something's legal or not. And if I've signed a death certificate that comes by me, which doesn't occur for anybody else because nobody else signs death certificates, but if me see those death certificates, sign those death certificates, submit those to the government as a legal document, and then see the exact same name down there and not bring some question to it. And that was all I was doing, was bringing the question. And the Secretary of State's office, when I give it to them, and the prosecutor were both told I didn't have birth dates or addresses. But when this was brought public that you were a speaker on, there was no mention of that. There was a mention of, I was trying to give the county a black eye, that I was doing this and that. When both the prosecutor and the Secretary of State's office knew at the time that I had said I don't have birthdays or addresses. And that's what the concern was with me, was sitting as a board of canvassers. I was going to sign a document that said these are valid voters, and me having signed 3 death certificates of those same names. And that's what I was trying to clear up. It wasn't a matter of, and the thought of bringing it to you or to the county clerk's office, what would that have helped? You had the county clerk in collusion with other people trying to buy this election. It wouldn't have helped for me to bring that to you. I mean, I bring it to the people that I should. When I give it to the Secretary of State's office, I asked Prosecutor Stevens if he wanted it at that time. He said no. I waited 2 to 3 weeks that he asked me for it, and I give it to him.
I believe we're about to get too far diverted here.
Well, I mean, it wasn't brought up by me. I just want to make sure we understand historically what, from my side, what happened. It wasn't a matter of not bringing it to the correct people. I did bring it to the correct people.
So, and the outspokenness of you at that point in regards to that issue, the Secretary of State's office eventually told you that you were correct in that one issue, that no dead people voted. So, I mean, I don't want you to take the fall for someone else that obviously didn't fulfill their duties and had you out there being their spokesperson when you were outspoken in regards to an issue that you were correct on at that point.
I have one final question. It goes back to something we heard there a while ago. Working for the county clerk, the direction that you took, and maybe other people, but you in particular, was it because somebody directed you to take it, or the lack of, and you just make decisions to do the best you can? Did anybody direct you to do that, the county clerk, and say do this or do that, as far as something that you thought maybe was improper?
Well, as far as reading the statement, I was asked to read the statement to the news media.
And who made that the statement? Who was the one that?
Mr. Whitten. It was
Mr.
from
Whitten
him.
wrote it
Yeah,
himself.
and we read it, yeah. Well, I read it and they stood behind me.
Did he have any assistance in writing that statement?
I'm not sure. That's just something, have to ask him. As far as the issue of the dead people voting, whenever that came about, it was from all the girls on the staff. It really upset the girl that was over the elections, and like I said, the other girl that, was in the office that, her mother had been, had passed away, and it was told that, you had made the comment that she let her
Well,
mother.
she wasn't one of the names that I had.
See,
on
we
that
weren't
list.
given any names, we were just told
Well, I thought the prosecutor and Cricket went and asked people about names.
after.
Yeah, they did a complete canvass of the county to do that later, yeah.
So I don't know if you were asking in particular that press conference or that statement, but were you just asking in general?
I'm talking about, yeah, I'm gonna follow. Beyond, back before that, this, I guess I was listening to your answers there, and I got the impression, maybe incorrect, that not only you, but everyone else over there was operating the best they could based on carrying out whatever the requirements are to carry out the election, based upon either what you were told or lack of, about just following procedure in the past, or what somebody said do. But I guess I just wondered if it was your decisions and things that you did was based on raw knowledge rather than real knowledge, I guess. I just thought, well, it sounds like you were just sort of shooting from the hip, doing this, doing that best you could.
Yeah, the best that we knew.
Yeah.
Like
You
I
had
said.
been trained.
No, and like I said, Kim, was over that before, and she carried the same process as she always had. And so that's sort of who we followed, under for her to show us, how to do things and stuff like that.
Did Cricket help train any, or she just left the job? I can't.
She wasn't trained.
But she was there when you began to work. She was still working in the office.
Yeah, she was there whenever.
And you could have been, I was trying to put the puzzle together. That whatever she done was probably based upon Kim. And then when you took over that, after she left, it would be a fair assumption that you just started doing things the way she done until you found out better.
Well, actually, I had went to the training in March, at the end of March of 2011, and didn't take that office until May. So I knew, I spent the whole time, even the off hours up there when there wasn't training, finding Secretary of State members, questioning about the things.
Anything else? Anything else you want to add?
I'd just like for you guys to give me the opportunity. And watch and see if I can do it. I know I can. If you could just give me the opportunity, you could see over the months that there would be a big change, and I'd just like for you guys to give me the opportunity.
If you're over that office, will you continue to cooperate with federal authorities in the investigation?
Absolutely.
Quite unusual interview, but I appreciate your patience in helping us work through this. But I think it's good. I think that we'll get to a resolution to it, but I do appreciate it. Anything else?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Christie.
That concludes our interview process. I will ask if the commissioners. We're back on the record. I would ask that since we've concluded the interview process, and, is there does the commission want to take maybe a 5-minute or less, have an executive session, do any discussion before we ask for votes? How do you want to do this?
We can do that. I think it's a personnel issue. We may have to discuss things.
And I move we go into executive session.
I'll second.
We'll be in executive session. You all just turn
In personal, that makes interactions with people, you know, it really takes a lot away from.
Yeah,
things
but it's a
like
good
that.
way to convey information, especially
Yeah,
with
yeah.
spelling and people.
Fast and
Right.
things.
Oh, right, when I was taking notes, I don't carry a notebook anymore, I just do it all on
Yeah.
my phone.
What about that guy that shot his daughter's computer?
Yeah.
Wasn't that something?
Watch out.
Okay. We're back in regular session. We had to have a short break there. We have completed our interviews for the sheriff and for the county clerk. On the list here, interview the position of county clerk and the Lincoln County sheriff. We conducted the sheriff first. Any order you want to go in?
I would like to offer a motion on the table for sheriff. And my motion would be to appoint Jerry Alford sheriff.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and second to appoint Jerry Alford sheriff. Is that an all yes vote? The motion carries with unanimous. The next item of business, I would entertain a motion to appoint someone to finish out the term until November election of the county clerk.
I'll motion we appoint Merle Gu.
And in regards to the recent controversy in Lincoln County and originating from the county clerk's office, I would abstain, and I would abstain because of respect for that office and respect for the people of Lincoln County.
Okay, we got a motion. Got two fine candidates, as far as I'm concerned. Mr. Scraggs and Mr. Gu. We have a motion for Mr. Gu. I'll second that motion. I'll call for a vote. An all yes vote
Yes.
with the one extension here. So
Abstain.
motion carries 2-0. Is there a motion to adjourn the special session?
So moved.
Second.
We stand adjourned. Thank you all. 9:50.